We often hear a lot of stories on innovations in the solar sector and wind sector, but we hardly see a lot of stories or media reporting on startups and companies who are doing well in decarbonizing the industries or infusing more renewable energy into the system. So one of the startups that we recently spotted was DeMITasse Energies, which is working to create long duration energy storage systems without the use of battery. So right now in today's special broadcast, we are joined by Mr. Vijay Prateik, who is the founder of DeMITasse Energies. So welcome Vijay in this special broadcast.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
So how this interesting name of DeMITasse Energies came into existence? Who exactly coined it?
It's a funny story. As engineers, we are creative only in certain areas. When we started this company, we did not know what to name the company, and we just were horrible at finding or figuring out a name. But when I was in college, I used to talk greatly about MIT with my friends, both at MIT and outside MIT. MIT did this, MIT invented so many sciences, etc., etc. So there's a friend of mine who was preparing for a GRE, and she had this term DeMITasse, which means a Turkish concentrated cup of coffee. So she broke that into DeMITasse, and she started calling me DeMITasse. And for the want of a name, and we didn't have any option, we stuck with DeMITasse as an interim name for the company, and that sort of grew up on us, and we've never changed the name since.
How exactly your technology works? Can you explain in simple terms? I think it is quite a bit complex, technical and complex issue.
So in a very simple way, what we are trying to do is store energy just like a battery. You can take electricity, store it, and then reutilize it later at any point. The essential motivation for this is that renewables are coming onto the grid, and we need more renewables to come on the grid. But the power grid is a very old technology. It was built for stability, and all renewables are inherently unstable. They're very intermittent, unpredictable. So coming on the grid is a problem for them, and you need energy storage to smoothen the curve. Today, lithium ion and other electrochemical batteries are doing that, but they are very, very expensive, prohibitively expensive. And also they cannot store a lot of energy. There's a very famous Bill Gates quote that says that all the batteries on earth today combined can store only about 10 minutes of the world's energy requirements. So that shows how inadequate batteries are. What we are doing is solving this exact problem. We are building a battery that can store energy for very long duration, for days, months, probably even years, and at a price point that is about 6 to 8 times cheaper than lithium ion. So once you do this, you can put a lot of these giant batteries on the grid, and you can store electricity that is being generated by the renewables. With this, you will not depend on fossil fuel power plants, and you can actually have a 100% zero emission power grid. So that is essentially what we are trying to do here.
Since your technology includes conversion of any form of energy into chemical energy, so what are the major advantages you see with this technology?
The core at our technology is called thermo-chemical energy storage system, where basically we store energy in the chemical bonds, and the bonds of chemicals using a combination of exothermic endothermic reactions in a very complex process. So the benefit of this is that energy does not get wasted, and second, the amount of energy that is stored, it does not dissipate. The energy is released only after a certain interval when it gets triggered. The best example is fossil fuels. The reason today we cannot replace fossil fuel despite decades of trying is that it's an excellent fuel. And why it is an excellent fuel is because it also is a thermo-chemical energy storage. It stores energy in its chemical bonds, and that energy, the huge amount of energy, is released only once a combustion process takes place. So that is essentially what we are also following. When we store that energy in the chemical bonds, it is released only under certain circumstances. And what this enables us to do is use a variety of energy sources, electrical, thermal, mechanical, etc., and we can store it. And the resultant is a thermal energy released, which can then obviously be converted into mechanical, electrical, whatever it might be. So over other technologies, with respect to especially grid application, a lot of energy is saved. For example, a typical thermal power plant, it wastes more than 60% of the net input that is given to it. So only 30% is converted into electricity. In our case, about 80% of the input energy is converted to electricity. So that huge efficiency difference costs a lot of, brings a lot of monetary benefits. Second, apart from energy storage, this technology can therefore also be utilized as waste heat recovery system. If you couple this with existing thermal power plants, with cement plants, with oil and gas refineries, for example, you can use a lot of energy that was being wasted, convert that into electricity and send it to the grid again. So there's a lot of money saved and a lot of emissions saved with our technology.
Government of India is already promoting other sources of battery storage, like batteries, energy storage, like battery storage or pumped hydro storage. So how your technology is different, like when we compare it with PSP or battery storage, how different it is?
So there is no one silver bullet in the problem of renewables. You are going to depend on a lot of these technologies. Even DeMITasse Energies technology is not something that you put and everything gets solved. For example, lithium ion, which is the poster child of energy storage, you will require it for frequency regulation, for a lot of high-speed response to any instability in the grid, which we cannot do it. Pumped hydro is something that is already on the power grid today across the world. But the problem is you need huge dams. You cannot build dams everywhere. So that is one problem. There is ecological problem. A lot of land gets inundated in water. You cannot have that. Also the energy density is very low. If you had to power Californian grid with energy storage, the height of the dam would go to the moon almost. So the energy density of pumped hydro is very less. Then there are a lot of new technologies coming in, like graviticity. Then there's liquid energy air storage. Then there is compressed air energy storage. So these are promising technologies, but they have their own pros and cons. We focused on a technology which focuses on engineering a solution rather than building a science. So we've taken existing technologies like heat exchangers, boilers, turbines, and we've repurposed them for a new cycle, and that's made our life simpler. It reduces the cost of development, reduces the time it takes to go to market, and that is how we are different. But again, it's going to be a mix of various technologies and not just one technologies, be it us or anyone else.
How had been the journey of DeMITasse till now?
It's been bittersweet. There have been moments of ecstatic joy, and there have been crippling pain also. So when we began, we don't come from a very business family, and starting a company back in 2011, 2010 was unheard of. So we definitely had a huge issue from our parents. There were no VCs. There were VCs. They were not as popular as they are today. So just figuring out how to start a company was a big challenge for us. Forget the technology part. But once that was figured, there are companies like Tata's. Tata's helped us a lot. Escorts helped us a lot in kind. And those were moments when that proved that there is a market for a technology like ours. Developing the technology took a long time. We spent 5 years just developing the chemistries, the materials, the processes, and like all scientific endeavors, there have been moments when we thought that this is just not possible, and there have been moments where we thought that we deserve a Nobel Prize for this. So just like life, it's been a mixed bag. But I believe with time, as things progressed, the journey is just getting better. So I think in general it's been a very rewarding journey. You need tough times to enjoy the good times.
Have you experienced this, the nature response of VC funders earlier, like 5 years, 6 years back, and now? Has there been a transition in their thoughts, more acceptability, more funding towards startups working in clean tech sector?
Right. There's a general shift, I think, in the renewables, but in general also. VCs are more receptive to fund newer startups with radical new ideas. But having said that, it's a cycle. Every industry has its own cycle. There's a boom and bust. There had been periods where the investors were very bullish in renewables across the world, not just in India, and then suddenly it crashed, and now there's a renewed interest in renewables. But I would differ a little bit on it. When we started in 2011, we were just a bunch of kids freshly out of college.
Around a decade back.
Around a decade back, exactly. When VCs weren't even a common household name. No one even knew. When we started, there's something called angel investors. And when I first heard angel investor, I thought it's a shady scam or something. What is this angel investing? So it was that unheard of. But even then, when we had started, I still remember I just started my LinkedIn profile, and we had VCs from Nexus Ventures, from Sequoia, who approached us. Of course,
from their side they approached.
From their side, and of course the college helps, and coming back to India, that helps. But we were offered money right back then, a decade back, when we had nothing but a design on a paper. We did not even know ourselves if this is going to work. So, and that was a period when there was economic slowdown, just after the meltdown. And renewables had gone bust in the US. So Landra was one, and a couple of others had gone down under. So even in the US, people were not very keen on renewables. So, and still there were people who were willing to fund us. In fact, we had raised a little bit of an investment from a gentleman in Pune. Unfortunately, he passed away soon after. So it is definitely good ideas. There's always backers for good ideas, no matter if there's a funding winter or not. But having said that, there were probably 2 or 3 VCs who were even remotely interested in something renewables. Today you see people are heavily invested in impact investing, in renewables, in green tech. So there's definitely a tectonic shift, but good ideas are always welcome, I believe.
You find any competitor now in the country or outside country working towards your industry, towards your technology? So
in India, unfortunately, there are no competitors, especially in long duration energy storage. In the US and Europe, there are quite a few. But that's a very good thing, because if you look at our competitors, they're all heavily funded. They're funded by people like Bill Gates, DOE, US. So that speaks volumes about the market. And they are doing some great work, but they're not in the exact same technology that we are doing, but they're solving the exact same problem that we are solving.
So this was about funders. You said that a lot of them supported you with funds and supported your idea to expand. But what about your clients? How many clients you have? Have they expressed the same sentiments? Have they expressed faith on your technology and given contracts and worked with you?
Right. So the industry, the benefit of this industry is everyone's educated. So in a typical startup, you need to educate your clients, your potential customers, and that cost of customer acquisition is very high. For us, the pain is so high that the customers come to us. Back in 2011, when we had just started, we had just things on paper. APPDCL, Andhra's Discom, they had approached us for this technology, and we said that we are trying to raise funds, maybe we are trying to develop a prototype, maybe, or we weren't very sure, and they gave us a LOI at that point, and they told us that this is going to help you. So please come back to us when you have a technology that's ready. We want to try it out. So we've had KPCL as back as 2020.
KPCL Karnataka.
KPCL Karnataka. Okay. So Ponuraj sir there, he was the MD, and he offered us 5 crores in funds just so that we can demonstrate a plant in Raichur Thermal Power Plant. And so we've had brilliant people like them. We've got BPCL who we are working with right now. They've been very helpful. The Indian Navy, who we've been working for very strategic application of our tech. So they've been very helpful with both money, getting us places, getting us ideal equipments for trialing. So our clients have been very helpful. If we did not have our clients, that would have been a problem. The biggest example of this is Thermax. We've been working with them for the last 2 years, and despite a lot of delays that startups typically handle and companies like Thermax cannot handle, they've stuck with us, and right now we are just signing a deal with them where after a current demo that we are building for them, we will build boilers for Thermax's new generation of equipments.
So your product is at what stage now, where we can define it?
So in the technical lingo, we are at TRL 5, which basically means that we've developed the basic prototypes, the concepts are in place, and we've sort of tested them in the real world. So we've done that, we've fielded a couple of pilots with a couple of our clients, and now we are commercializing the products. So we are getting all the regulatory clearances, we are getting all the components to be mass manufactured, we are streamlining all the processes, all the QA, and by mid of next year we intend to launch our commercial off-the-shelf components products.
You claim that you have a very unique product. So have you filed any patent towards that? And if not, what are the major disadvantage you see if you are not opting for patent?
Right. So patents are excellent, but what a lot of people think, patents are not there to protect you per se. They're a deterrent. So if you, for example, try copying my technology, you can. I can only take you to court. I can't stop you. So if I don't have money in my pocket, there's no meaning. And if you're, for example, Ambani or Reliance, I really cannot stop you from copying my technology. So patents are good as deterrents. And so we've refrained from filing patents. We've got about 160 that we have to file. We have a strategy where we are using trade secrets for now, and once we've got funds to protect our IP, that is when we'll start filing our patents. Another downside of patents, which a lot of people forget, is that patents are in public domain. So once we file for patents, everyone's going to know what exactly are we doing, how our chemicals work, etc., etc. So if we don't have those kind of funds to protect ourselves, a company like Dow Chemicals can always come and build synthetic chemicals which essentially are not infringing on your intellectual property, but they can do something that's better than you. So we are waiting it out, but we definitely will be filing our patents in the coming 5 years.
What is your future plan now? Where you want to take your company? What is your vision for this company or about this technology?
So we want to dominate the grid energy market in the entire globe. That's our goal. Having said that, we are right now focusing on commercializing our technology. By mid of next year, we intend to develop a few off-the-shelf products, energy storage systems for grid application as well as off-grid applications in the Indian as well as US market. Once that happens, we intend to grow in these two markets, get a foothold, and then expand into other markets. We are also, as we speak, expanding into the US for our R&D and building a manufacturing base in India, utilizing the skill sets in both the countries. And we are building our team right now. So in the short term, this is what we want to do. In the longer term, we are looking at becoming the single most important grid storage company in the world.
Thank you, Vijay, for talking to us. We wish all the best to your company.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.